One more game left to go, and thank God it's better than Flow. Hello and welcome to Connor Reviews, and today we are going to talk about Cloud, our final game that we're going to review this month for That Game Company month. Now, Cloud is the first game ever really made by That Game Company. Now, technically, it wasn't actually made while That Game Company was formed, but the founders of That Game Company Studios made this game back when they were in university. So, this is technically their first game they made. The game, in case you don't know, is a game where you play as a little child dreaming about flying around the clouds. And as you fly around the clouds, you must grab the clouds and move them in different ways to solve different puzzles to beat the game. Now, due to this game being developed while they were in university, so not having huge amounts of time to put into this game, while also including the fact that they had the budget of a shoebox, you're going to assume that this game must be god-awful in compared to the other games they made. Well, it's not actually true. Now, don't get me wrong. The graphics themselves aren't the best-looking things you've ever seen, especially compared to their other games. But the game is still a pretty decent game, and is actually still way better than Flow, so good job there, guys. Now, when it comes to story in this game, as I said, it's a lot like Journey and Flower. There isn't a huge amount of story in the game, but enough to keep you entertained, which is quite nice. Now, don't get me wrong, I don't think all games should necessarily go the route that That Game Company has gone, with having minimal to no story, but with the way that their philosophy is, as I've said many times throughout this month, their games are designed with playing with your emotions specifically, and toying with them in certain ways. And having a minimal story helps that. If the story was over-expanding and too much, then it would take away from the story itself. The game is about making you feel different things. And how does this game make you feel? Happy, calm, relaxed, peaceful. This game is just such a relaxing game, peaceful game. The music itself, incredibly uplifting. It's quite a positive experience. You just leave it, no matter what you feel about the game, you leave it just kind of feeling happy. It's nice to have in a game once in a while. Now, my only real complaint about this game is in regards about this emotional side in particular, is compared to something like Journey and Flower, those games are really good at being able to make you go from happy to negative emotions, anger, sad, fear, and they're really good at it, being able to just switch their emotions like that and make you feel it. And now, granted, Cloud wasn't necessarily trying to play with your emotions and make them go negative. They were mostly trying to keep you calm and positive instead of going to the negative ones. And considering the amount of time that they had and the budget they had to work on this, it's not surprising they weren't able to necessarily go into the darker emotions. Although I would love to actually have seen what they could have done on the budget they had, with the resource they had, to see what they could have done with negative. I think it would have been very interesting. Now, last but not least, the controls. I've been trying to avoid this right up to the end here, but the controls are weird. They're just odd. When playing this game, it felt like it was very, like, tilt control should be used. But I was playing on a PC. It's the only platform you can play this on. So it was very, very challenging. And as a man who doesn't like tilt control as it is, wasn't enjoying it at all. And I found myself constantly throughout the game being taken out of the emotional side of it because I'd be so annoyed just trying to figure out how the controls in this worked. With at least a game like Journey, anyone can play this game. I'm truly convinced, whether you're a big gamer or not, if I threw a remote down at you, you could play this game. It's a very simple game. It still gets the impact done of being able to play with your emotions. Whereas a game like this feels incredibly challenging, and I feel that it's going to push a lot of people away from playing it. Now again, this was it was a university project. This isn't supposed to be a big AAA title. But it's still a game at the end of the day. Because of that challengeness to it, you're going to be pushing people away from it. Because I don't think the game is designed to be this challenging. At least it didn't come off that way. It wasn't like their goal was to make it the Dark Souls of cloud flying little boy simulator games. It just seemed like this is what they had to work with, and it made it quite a challenge. One aspect I really did like about the controls was actually moving the clouds themselves. Now, when you're flying around normally, you can go really slow, or you could really just get going and just haul ass at how fast you're going. But when you're grabbing a cloud, you could continue to just haul ass and move as fast as possible, but if you do that, the cloud is going to break apart. So you have to try and find this healthy balance where the cloud isn't falling apart as you go forward and you're not crawling at a snail's speed, which actually was relatively challenging, but in a good way, which makes me wonder about the gameplay as a whole. As I said, the game seemed way too overly complex, and it's not like they were trying to do it on purpose. Yet, when you play with this cloud function, in regards to speed, having the cloud fall apart, it seems like it was on purpose, which left me in a tough situation. Are the controls just bad, or are they purposely complex? I really couldn't tell. In all likelihood, it's probably a bit of a mixture of both, but either way, because it's a mixture of both, instead of me being able to know for sure, yes, this game is hard on purpose, or no, this game is just really bad, it's going to hold it negatively in my eyes. Now, is this a great game? No. Not at all. Is this even a bad game, though? No, it's not bad either. It's just a game. It's decent, it's not terrible, it's not great, it's just a game. But the one thing I will say about this game that I do admire about it is what it has done. This game is essentially the foundation of their studio. This game helped lead towards the way they make games as a whole. Except for Flow. I don't know what the fuck they were thinking with Flow. The big theme of this month has been emotions. That's what this game laid the groundwork of. Their belief that when they make games, they want to make games that can play with your emotions. And god damn it, does Cloud solidify this? Does it stand solidly by that fact? Even as much as it isn't a great game or bad game, it still managed to play with your emotions. Very similarly to Flower and Journey. And that's what they want to do. So this game helped them lead in a proper direction, which I think is amazing. And what also should be noted too is how they did this. Like, the fact that these were university students, so they only had a limited amount of time to actually put into this game, not to mention almost nothing for a budget. And I say that because video games are by no means cheap to make. They cost a lot of money. So the little bit of money that they had, they still managed to make a pretty amazing game for the budget and the time that they had. And this game, being what it was, received a lot of critical praise and won lots of awards. And this game would go found their studio, where they would work with Sony to create a lot of the games that we know for. We know them for Flower and Journey. My favorite game of all time wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for Cloud. So, yeah, I have to admire this game for what it does. It's a lot like Super Smash Bros. For the N64. Is it a great game? No, not at all. It's terrible. But the idea of the game and what the game did would help lead to something great that would change video games forever and leave a big mark in video game history. I'm giving this game a 3 out of 5. So what did you think of Cloud? Do you think it's better than I thought it was? Do you think it's worse? Are you not even paying attention right now because you're too busy typing in the comment section about how angry you are that I called Super Smash Bros. 64 an awful game? Whatever you think, let me know in the comments section down below and I'll see you next time.